Tracy E. Gilchrist, and this is Equal Entertainment. Barbie is out of the #1 spot, and Blue Beetle has taken over the top spot at the box office. The movie, based on the DC comic, brought in $25.4 million in its first weekend. At first, the movie was planned as a streaming-only release, but was pushed into theaters. It's the first DC movie to star a Latino superhero. Blue Beetle, starring Zolo Maridueña, is a rare comic book film to put a Hispanic cast front and center. But the Barbie phenomenon is far from over. Barbie was a close second with another $21.5 million. Friends, family, and fans are mourning the death of two-time Emmy Award-winning actor Ron Cephas Jones. Jones won those 2 Emmys for his role in the NBC drama This Is Us. He spent most of his career in theater, and he even returned to Broadway after a double lung transplant forced him to learn to breathe and walk again. Jones also had TV guest stints on Mr. Robot and Luke Cage. His film appearances included Half Nelson and 2019's Dolomite Is My Name with Eddie Murphy. In 2020, he and his daughter, Jasmine Cephas Jones, both won Emmy Awards, becoming the first father-daughter pair to win in the same year. Jones was 66 years old. Hollywood writers are continuing their talks with the studios. Neither side has signaled that they are any closer to ending the strike. More than 11,000 writers have been on strike since May. 160,000 actors went on strike in July. Most production on shows and films has shut down. Several upcoming movies have been delayed. Prime is canceling the second season of A League of Their Own, a series that was celebrated for its strong female leads and LGBTQ+ inclusion. The streamer canceled the series before a second season could begin production. This after Prime initially renewed a shortened 4-episode second season. The series from queer creators Will Graham and Abby Jacobson features several queer characters played by queer actors. According to theadvocate.com, at least 18 shows with LGBTQ+ representation have been canceled in 2023. Minx is cruising through season 2 on Starz, and the story behind the first erotic magazine for women has many laughs. Minx star Elizabeth Perkins spoke with me before the actors' strike about being an LGBTQ+ ally and her role as Constance on the series.
Well, I want to say congratulations on joining the cast of Minx for season 2. It's such an incredible show, and you're a wonderful addition to it.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I wanted to get into your character a little bit, Constance. Would you talk about her as this kind of financier, businesswoman of her era? She's kind of ahead of her time, and then also very much a part of it.
100%.
Yeah.
She, well, they describe her as the first woman to have a seat at the New York Stock Exchange. So that kind of sets the tone for who she is and how to be the first woman to have the seat. She basically clawed her way through a man's world to get there. So when she comes in as the sort of wealthy benefactor of Minx, she also brings an ideology with her of what it means to be a woman boss and how that's identified as a feminist. And it definitely is sort of linked to that second wave, you know, that this is about women, and this is about our journey, and this is about putting us forward. Whereas Joyce, who she sort of takes on as a mentor and has a lot to teach her about making it, particularly in this era. But I do think that Constance is kind of stuck in that second wave, whereas Joyce has the ability to say, okay, well, I get that, but I want to keep pushing. I want to keep pushing. And I think ultimately the two of them have a lot to learn from each other about A, how did we get here? And B, how do we keep moving? How do we keep, pushing this along to be more inclusive and more equitable and all of that. So my hope would be that ultimately they both have something to bring to the table that both of them can learn from.
Yes, yes, I love that. Thank you. And you kind of talked around this a little bit. Something that's interesting to me about Constance is she seems like someone who probably has an entire cadre of gay friends. However, when it comes to business, she does not want to pull, especially the queer community, into her fight because she feels that will slow her down. And would you touch on that kind of dichotomy of being I mean, you sort of did already, but would you talk about it specific to that piece of the show?
Well, I do think that still exists today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a large faction of feminists who don't necessarily embrace the queer community the way more progressive feminists do.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be that battle of how do you define feminism?
Mm-hmm.
And, how do you get to an intersection that's healthy for everyone? I mean, I have my own personal feelings on
Sure.
that. I was raised as a, second wave feminist. I was in my teenage years in the 70s, and I'm way over to the left in terms of LGBTQ rights and making that intersectionality. And there are still feminists from the second wave who aren't having it.
Yeah.
And I do think Constance is kind of stuck in that. I mean, everything was so new in, say, the early 70s, but like a great journey for her would be to learn how to move forward and become more diverse and inclusive. That would be a wonderful journey that I'd love to see happen.
Yeah, I would as well. And I mean, yeah, I think we all sense you are, very far to the left because you are beloved by the LGBTQ plus communities. So.
That's great.
Absolutely. Well, I just wanted to ask you a little bit more of a general question. Minx is so wonderful in its depiction of women's sexual agency and desire and fluidity and all of those explorations. And what does it mean to you to be a part of this project that is highlighting such important subjects, but in this really fun package?
Right. Well, I mean, fun always makes it watchable.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. You can go back to TV shows like All in the Family, where the lead of the show is actually a racist bigot, but you learned so much about that. So, I mean, comedy has always been sort of that great door opener. And with this show, what I love about it is it's showing the beginnings of LGBTQ, the beginnings of second wave feminism, and I think it allows an interesting historical perspective on, well, this is what it looked like when they, codified Roe. This is what it looked like when their bathhouse began in West Hollywood. And this is, the formation. I think it gives a perspective, to, what could we have done differently? And B, look how far we've come and what could we have done differently along the way. So I think it just offers a really unique perspective, as well as being great to watch LA in the 70s, with the cars and the music and the clothes and the hair and it's just it's such a great show that when they asked me to be on season 2, I didn't even really know what the character was. I was just like, yeah, I really want to be involved in this because I think what you're doing is really smart and fun. And you just don't see a lot of shows like this.
No, it is one of a kind. It's one of my favorites. So,
oh, good.
Oh, I know. I love it.
You can watch the Advocate Channel live by downloading our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's more news that advocates for you coming up after the break.